Hello. I can't wait to do this session because I've been doing DIY things this morning, and although I was kind of in the mood for it, I wanted to paint as well. And it's also a very nice day out, and I'm wasting it because I should be out painting plein air. But I really wanted to get the DIY stuff done, so I have it started anyway. It's actually it happened because of two things. One of them is my video upload that I did about my workspace. Um, that I was kind of realizing when I was doing the video that I was in an overload situation with all my gear. You know, I keep buying new things like this Cotman watercolor set that I'm going to really enjoy using today. Which I haven't got to play with enough yet. I have a bit, but I have some things in my botanical sketchbook from it, which I can show you. Um, but so I realised that I need to get some areas a little bit more organised, and I cleaned up the trolley, the little trolley I have material on beside the desk here. I cleared that up and made a lot more room on that. So there's some of the watercolors I've done so far with it. But as I say, I haven't done loads, you know. Let's see, there's a gouache in there. I've started a new oil painting, you see, so I was sitting around doing an extra study last night, and it was a pen and wash. So this is using that Cotman studio set. And they are beautiful, even though this is not good paper in this. I actually like using the sketch pad because the paper crinkles a lot when you put watercolor on it, and it just is a pleasant feeling. But it's not very good quality paper. But I really enjoyed doing that sketch. And I really enjoyed doing the first oil painting of the year. So, of course, I want to be painting. I'm not doing DIY things. But the DIY thing I did is very worth because it's in the utility room, which is the overflow area I was showing you for art materials. And I don't really want it to be too much of an overflow area. So I'm always honing my space to try and make a bit more space, basically. So I had a washing machine flood last week, and that set me thinking, that um I managed to get all the stuff off the floor just to mop the floor at first. But then I thought, no, I really need to make a project of putting up more shelves in here. So that's what I was doing this morning. It took me a day just to get the shelves. Took me like a few hours to measure things and decide what I needed and have a plan. And then I had to get the shelves and all the brackets and everything to go with it. And I even bought a new drill. So my new drill is going to come in really handy for the hardest walls in Ireland for putting paintings up. Was a huge success this morning. So I have one rail of a shelving arrangement that involves a couple of rails and then brackets that kind of hook onto them. And then you put your shelving on it, and it's all very technical and everything. But I have a YouTuber that inspires me. There's a YouTuber called Rambling Rosie, I think is the name of her channel, and I love her channel so much. She taught herself to do carpentry things, and she lives out in a little house in the middle of nowhere, and she's doing it up. And I love getting to see a female using tools and everything because it boosts me. I sort of go, okay, it's doable. It's a whole other world that usually only men are privy to because women don't stand around in hardware stores giving each other tips, do they? So, But enough of this. We can do some watercolor now. Sorry, I got a bit chatty there, didn't I? But the Friday is sort of catch up as well, and it is, the last that one when I was showing you my art space, like I was talking about how art is um a lifestyle thing. So, even doing DIY stuff is just to accommodate my um materials for my art lifestyle, really. Anything else, clothing, household things, comes second to being able to fit in my art materials. So I want to make my house comfortable to fit my art materials into, basically. So it's part of the lifestyle, isn't it? So here we go. Winsor Newton Cotman studio set. Ooh. I got this recently, and it's the 24 set that I got, and I haven't played with it enough. But look what it does. This is one of the side palettes, and I love this. It lifts in and out. There are two palette areas, one sort of curved palette area like that, but this one lifts out separately, and I love this because I'm always looking for long shaped palettes like this. Uh, Anybody who works with any clay or anything like that, I suppose even air dried clay would do it if it was varnish. Um, make your own palettes because they're extraordinarily expensive online. Anything ceramic is going to be expensive, and ceramic is going to be slightly better than even this plastic thing, which I was kind of impressed with because the paint didn't really bead on it as much as on some plastic palettes, which I liked, but it does stain very slightly. And so, a ceramic palette can be better than that. And I bought a palette. I'm gonna actually move this palette because I'm going to be working on that palette. I don't know. I haven't really come to grips with the curved palette as much yet. I haven't used it at all yet, to be honest. I'm so pleased with the one with all the little squares in it. But this palette I bought online recently, and I really bought this for the Kuretake set. But look at it. I love it. This is ceramic, and so ceramic is nice to mix on, but it's the size I love. And for talking about like pressure on my space and everything that I'm working in, um, you can see why I'm buying stuff as small as possible, but in shapes that like fit well on my sort of drawing board that I'm working on here on my table. You sort of know my studio layout now. It's a home studio, so I have to accommodate everything in sort of one side of the room, really, because I don't want paint spreading too far. It does anyway, but I don't want it spreading all of my clothes, and I'm working with oil paint. Like I have a painting I had to move today. I had to really think because the oil paint is wet on it, and I had to think, where am I going to move it to while I'm doing this live stream? That it won't get oil paint all over everything because you can't get oil paint out. And I have a video. I'm filming a video of that. I'll have that video within the next week maybe, but I'm still working on the picture. It was supposed to be a one-day picture, but they never are a one-day job. But um I have this new plan. And the plan at the moment is that I'm out doing a lot of plein air things again because the weather is improved, right? So I'm really pleased with that. But the plan is to do a lot of painting outside, and then to come in and do paintings from them quickly. So do lots of paintings, lots of oil paintings. And I'll be working outside with gouache. When it's a bit warmer, probably more watercolor. But it takes a while to dry, you see, watercolor. So it's still very dampy out there. So I don't know that watercolors. See, that's gouache used like watercolor. It still dries quicker. I find my jelly gouache, they still dry quicker than watercolor at the moment. So the watercolor, I wouldn't be dragging out the Cotman Studio set, but I do have um, little field sets for watercolor, which are Cotman as well, little small field sets. So I can bring them out, but I might wait till it's a little bit balmier out. But this is what I'm going to work on today. So, like, the new plan of doing paintings quickly is to get me loosened up because I'm somebody who settles into getting tighter and tighter with stuff if I don't try and stay loose. And I want to have a balancing act going between having a lovely fluid, loose quality in my work, but having naturalistic detail in there that looks very accurate in a way, right? It doesn't have to be like highly naturalistic approach, but it tends to get very like that. But what happens is if I get too tight, the thing gets a little bit too illustration-y, if you know what I mean. I want to keep some of the painterly quality. It's a hard thing to explain, but like when you get it right, you go, yeah, that painting's working because it's got a bit of swish, but it's also got control going on as well. So it's, it's something that kind of happens by accident sometimes, but you do have to work on staying loose as well. I find sort of painter I am, I have to work on it, you know. Um, so watercolor, I think, it's a lovely medium. And when I was out the other day, I had my watercolor pencils, which are these guys. They're a Derwent brand pencil, and I really like those. Um, and I was just working over, I had that little art graph tin of graphite um, powder. It's like it's in a tin like a watercolor. And actually, the link, I think I've got a pinned link there in chat. Hopefully, it stayed up because I put it there before I went live. So I don't know if stuff you put there before you went live stays up. Don't normally have pinned comments there, but there's a link to the short video, because not everybody watches short videos on my channel. There's a link there to the short video I did when I was out sketching at this scene, the scene that you see in the thumbnail for this live, or if you've just turned up in these tiny little pictures. And I won't be working from these tiny little pictures. I have a picture in front of me on my computer screen, which is on my little work desk as well here. So I'm going to work mainly from that. This was just to give you an idea, if you turned up late, what it is I'm painting. So yeah, that's what that link is to. It's to my community tab, where I posted up the link to the short video where I was out. Gosh, it seems like ages ago now, but it might have been the day before yesterday. I was out 20th March. Um, yeah, 2 days ago. I was out painting the mountains in the mornings, or drawing and painting, because these are watercolor pencils. So I had my water brush with me, which was very handy. And I sat there, happy as you like, on a rock, painting these mountains, because there was a beautiful blue sky and lovely purples and things in the mountains. So what I'd like to do today is, instead of working in an oil painting, do a painting in watercolors from this sketch. So I would hope that I would get something a little bit more. I'm really working on color contrasts and tonal contrasts in my paintings at the moment, because I think that they're all a little bit maybe mucky, and that needs to be worked on a little bit. So what I'm going to do is, I might bring this down here actually, because I'm going to make a sort of a long composition. I have to get out of this habit of just talk at the hind legs off you before I even start. I think I'll come sort of 3/4 down the page with this one. I don't know how long the composition is going to be. It might not be quite that long, but I'm working on this watercolor paper, which is in my new botanical sketch pad, and I'm actually finding that paper a little bit soft, I think. So I'm going to try this Fabriano paper that a lot of botanical artists use. I might buy a pack of that next, or just a little sketch pad of that to see how that goes. But for today, I don't mind if this doesn't keep all the high detail in it, because I might be working with watercolor pencils as well, just at the end. So I'm going to do sort of blocks of color with these, and then work with my watercolor pencils at the end. So there, another thing that I might be doing is a little bit masking tapey job, just because masking tape, masking fluid, I should say. Just because I have some colors that I want to kind of preserve as very pale, and I don't want to wreck a brush doing this. I've never tried this yolk before, but it might work. Um, yeah, that's not bad actually. I suppose you could use your rect brushes for this if you had any rect ones. I just want to have little bits of, tiny bits of white left. And then if I do I'm going to give this time to dry, you see. Then if I do uh, wash later, a light colored wash, I can have some white bits preserved in the darkness. And actually drying fairly fast on that paper, which kind of shows you, I think, how soft paper is in a way. Well, I don't know. Maybe on a paper that's not as absorbent, it would dry even faster. I don't know. Um, but that is the technique that I was using on last night's one here, because I had a subject that had grasses running across it. So it's really handy. I really like this thing, and it's very easy to do with oil paint, of leaving a very, very pale area and having very dark beside it. You see, in oil paint, you could just come along with a whip of paint afterwards and do it handy enough, but it's not as handy in watercolor. So I'm just putting that little bit in first, just because it needs a while to dry. I might also put in the gate actually, because there's a little gate. Yes. I can get this thing. I would have liked it with a little bit smaller a point, but at the same time, I had a toothpick and it wasn't picking up enough of it. But I'm reminding myself, I want it to be a loose watercolor. This just saves me a bit of mess and having to preserve things. And what I particularly liked about this was, it's annoying when it goes blobby like that. What I particularly liked about this scene was that um, the hills were beautiful purples. Can't see them that well in the photo, and I just did two photos because I wanted that long format and I don't have panoramic kind of a thing. But there were lovely purples playing across the mountains, and I do have them indicated in the little sketch I did already, but I will be freestyling slightly. I do have the photo up on the screen, which has a bit more color information than the printed out versions that I have, which aren't very good. So this tree and this gate are setting the size of things. So I'm just going to very loosely sketch in the main shapes. That's this tree. So I'm going to generalize about those shapes, because this is quite challenging for me, because I'm not going to do much drawing in this one. Wait till I just get my picture blown up on my screen. And I have the picture with both of them edited together, and I can just zoom around. Um, this is quite challenging for me, because normally I would draw, like you saw that drawing that I did last night in pen and ink. That's kind of my style, but I want to concentrate on color, color and tones. as well in this one. So I want to generalize about areas and just fill in kind of blocks of color and not worry about, you see, the way this tree, for example, has loads and loads of detail, not be too worried about detail. But I still get drawing practice because I still get to have to work on how does this shape of these trees here interact with this blocky shape of this tree, and how does that interact with where is it in relation to the gate and everything. So, I'm still having to do a bit of work. And then I have like small details which I'm not going to get mad into, but there I'm seeing them in terms of tone. So the side of the stony, stony little handmade kind of edges for this 4 bar gate. Um, I'm sort of, you know, dividing that into where the sun is hidden, and the sun was actually behind me in the thumbnail. You might see how there's my shadow. I actually edited it in on top of it to include my shadow is appearing on the ground in front of me, so the sun is behind me in this. And I was watching a video this morning. Somebody pointed this out, and I thought I'd never pointed that out before, but it makes sense, doesn't it? That um, one of the first questions you ask yourself when you're drawing or painting is, where's the sun source coming from? And the video, what was the video about? Why was she talking about? Oh yeah, she was talking about the way light hits things. In relation to, it was something I knew already. That's why I can't remember it. If it was something new, I would have remembered it easily. Oh yeah, she was talking about color. And how color, say you had a roundy shape, like this is a kind of a roundy set of trees, right? Um, the highlights for where the sun is hitting it, which would be in the middle, would be the palest color, but then the next color to it as it rounds around would be the most saturated color. And then it goes towards, as it goes around further away, like back here, this kind of group, you'll get a more bluish effect, or in a shadow, you'll get a more bluish effect. And this is why people are forever doing purples in trees. And, I'm going to make an admission here. I was giving out about purple recently on a live, but it was because I was really thinking about wanting to use purple after a long time really hating purple. I have something against particular shades of purple. Some shades of purple I love. There's a kind of a Victorian, I suppose you call it a puce. I like that. But a very violent purple, I don't really like. But I have this purple in this set, and it's very nice when mixed with other things, and it's Purple Lake. And it's a subtle color when it's mixed with other things. Everything's nice in context. Um, and sometimes the context is, and this was pointed out by, oh, that is, I have that all the way over there, and it's actually here. We do have a few of these posts, but one of them is there. And I don't know if sorry, I have to reach over to the computer. Oh, I do have a reference for this. I have another one over here, but as you can tell, I'm taking my time today. Oh, it's lashing rain out there now. Shower. They say that about April showers. But actually, it's been just March is proving showery after February being just rain. So there are all these shapes, and I am just looking for negative shapes in between them to make life easier painting them. That actually goes over another. Now, I could lie about a lot of this stuff positioning wise if I wanted to, But because I'm sort of doing a thing where I liked the original layout of the thing anyway, I'm happy enough. And in fact, I'm going to probably just include a tiny bit more down the bottom just to get this kind of little track in leading up to that gate because I liked that. And I'm not so much drawing details in this as I'm drawing sort of areas of, I'm outlining, if you like, areas of where I'm going to fill in different tones or colors. So there was something else I was going to say about color. What was I talking about? I was talking about purples and how I like purples. And I'm going to start using more purples because in my quest for, sorry, I'm taking my time today. I feel like taking my time after working so hard today as a treat. So, in my quest for color contrasts, you see, I'm going to make purple my friend. And what I had been doing uh, in the past, I think, because I would not have managed to get any sort of contrast in my paintings at all. And it wasn't that I was getting no contrast, it was that it just wasn't enough to really lift the painting out of being okay color wise to being really popping. I don't mean that make it really loud painting or anything. I just mean exciting, contrasting things happening that just please the eye and everything. I was looking at a beautiful painting of rocks by Sargent yesterday. It was actually a copy somebody on YouTube had done, did a fantastic copy, but it had blues, a kind of grayish cerulean blue, contrasting beautifully with a warm ochre sienna color on the rocks. And I thought that's what's really making that very exciting, even though the subject would not have been interesting had you not done that. You see, he very clever, Sargent, his use of stuff. He manages to make it look effortless. But now this is a weird color run along the back of this tray. Lovely pinks in here. And of course, when we get to the mountains, there are lovely purples. But when you look here, there's in some of the trees, I have the mid-distance trees shapes indicated now, and all this work I'm putting in now is supposed to make doing the other stuff easier for me, and I think it will. Um, I haven't even shaded that in particularly because I don't want all the pencil marks showing. Sometimes I do, but today I just want to do it with just color. And there might be some pencil going in later. So these are the back trees. I just have to make sure I'm getting my pale bits in. I'll keep interrupting myself when I'm talking because I get interested in what I'm doing. I was just checking they were in the right bit. They're not bad. Trying to, work my way up here. There are things happening that are exciting. You see, like a thin little line of a paler color that I could see in the photo. Some of the stuff I couldn't actually see in my drawing. And some areas like this, the branches of the front tree are intruding on a very, very dark area there, but they're still important to, even though I don't want to kind of get too hung up on detail, they are still important to the composition, I feel, to have them in. So, and then we've got some smaller stuff. So I'm really confining myself to just what was happening in the first photograph here. Uh, and not going much further. I might lie a little bit about the mountains and maybe shift them over a bit so I can get some of the mountains that are on the right hand side of the picture in. I don't know. Wait till we see. Yeah, there's one here I really want to. That's like the most important one for the composition, I feel. And I'm looking at the height of it in relation to the line of the trees and things like that, because it's quite high. So I still get my opportunity to practice drawing in with this because I still have to get things kind of in the right place, even though mountains are very forgiving. They really are. And I started really doing mountains, I think last year. I seem to remember in spring doing kind of my first mountains, and I always thought they would be this really tricky thing to do. And then I realized, no, they're not actually too tricky because all kind of lines and things running through them, you can lie about the position or get the position wrong, and the mountain doesn't mind too much. All the lighting changed in this and everything. And that's really nice, actually. That I have, I have two okay photos that I took, and I didn't publish anything other than the uh, short video up on the community tab because I thought, you know what, this is the sort of picture that you kind of had to be there to really be really into it. I think, so if somebody really wanted it, I suppose I could post it up for them, but um. Some of the excitement was being there, really. I'm getting into the shading thing and I want to move a light. You see, I'm trying to work against what I would normally do in a way. Okay, I'm good to start. It's only half an hour in and I'm good to start. But I'm going to be moving fast. So I'm going to see these brushes. I don't know if I like these brushes or not. These are an Artway brush, and it's supposed to be a Chinese style. I suppose it's goat hair brush, but I only very briefly used them. I'm not that pushed about them. I prefer the other ones that I got in a different set that came with the roll, and I showed you that one. These brushes I'm really loving, but these they're not like I had a Chinese brush before, and they don't do the same things unless they suddenly start doing the same things. So where will I start with that? So there's the edge of the picture there. Okay, we call that the edge. I'm not going to do any of this washi tape business. I actually like a little pockety edge on a picture. So down here is my mixing area, and I think you can see it okay. Um, so I'm going to, there's a few ways to go. I could just do a wash. I've been a bit precious and scared. Yeah, I might do that. I might try and get the color for this bit going first. So let's bring out the mixing board into this area. So I have trying to get to know my colors as well. Let me show you the colors I'm working with here. Uh, Doing a swatch was part of getting to know my colors. So this is a raw sienna I have here. I think, no, it's yellow ochre. And the front is not quite a yellow ochre. It's got more lemon yellow. I think. Yeah, I just want it very, very slightly indicated. This is challenging for me. Um, Going this light with things. So I'm getting more lemon yellow involved. And there are pinky bits in that as well. So let me see how that tree. Yeah, it's got very light. And I'm glad I have the little um, rubbery stuff, the masking fluid on there because I don't have to worry about that. So I have that's my basic fieldy colour, but I would put other colours into it. And bear in mind now, I'm still very much at the experimental stage with this. So I don't know what red that is. Let's see. It's and part of the reason for doing the swatch was just to get used to what colors. I'm not used to working with that many reds in one set. You see, my field set just has alizarin and cadmium in it. So the red here is cadmium orange, cadmium pale hue. That's what I worked with there, cadmium pale hue. So this is definitely a getting to know you kind of session with these paints. And it's going to look very weedy, isn't it, to start with, because um I don't want to go too dark. And I do tend to. The one last night, if you just have a quick look at it again, um, you'll see that problem. The drawing was lovely. I really liked the drawing, but look how dark this all went in here. It's nice, I like it as a drawing, but I lost a lot of detail because it just went too dark. Now you could say, okay, but you were using black pen, but I actually just went too dark on the watercolors as well. That was those Cotmans. So I'm being very careful. Now, I am going to go very dark on these though, because these are very dark. So we're looking for a very dark green. So let's get my other swatch card out. I do like this thing of um, having the swatch cards on long things like this. I took this into my botanical sketch pad, and anytime I'm doing a watercolor, I can refer to these. I have only two greens in this set, which compared to the Kuretake watercolors that I got recently is ridiculously little. But obviously I can do things with the greens, can't I? So say I took a that sap green, and I got a little bit of burnt umber involved as well. Let's try that color. That's nice, but I'm gonna have more sap green involved. See, that's nice, and some bits of those three are that color with darker color on them as well. Now, this is quite a weird little treat for me, um, working with this watercolor paper. See, this brush, I like some of the shapes it makes. Every brush does something different. But when I'm on this taking my time stint, it's nice because I can see the color developing on the paper. I hope you can see it looks awfully dark on my screen. I'm going to have a look at the live screen, and it does look very dark, doesn't it? I wonder, would I flood the thing too much if I put on a light? That's not too bad, actually. I think you're always better off with natural light. I have a little light source, but it tends to wash out the whole thing so much. So this is not the exact green. It's not the right green for those trees, but part of the lightest parts of those trees were a kind of a sap green with a little bit more blue on them as well. So I'm gonna put in this color first and then feed in a little bit darker color. And here's some of the where the dark butts up against a grayish color. So I'm going to work on that grayish color, and I do have a gray in this set, Payne's gray, and it's very pretty grey, that Payne's grey, but I want a pinker grey, so I'm going to get into the purple. And I realized, I think I said this earlier in the live stream, but I might have interrupted myself, that what I do instead of purple, I had been using something purpley, but what I had been using was, that's very nice. I had been doing this. I had been using alizarin and an umber, or I think it was actually a sort of a Van Dyke brown that I had in it to get a red in the trees. So although it's not in the purpley range, it's in the warm range, you see. So I was working with that kind of color. Now this tree has both things going on, and I think that this set personally, unlike the Kuretake set that I had, I'm going to go really light with that. I have a little thing here on the side that mops up a little bit of the water out of that, so that I can just, and you can dry your brush almost completely and get a lot of the water back up out of it. So it allows you to do very light colors. So I think there is something about watercolor that it's conducive to working slowly. I just feel it probably is. And in fact, see, I'm getting into detail too early. I know you don't. Oh no, I have something dried on the top of one of my favorite brushes. I must have been using it for gouache. I'm so naughty like that, aren't I? Gouache comes out okay though. I think it was because gouache, you can use it like watercolor, but it dries a little bit hard, so you wouldn't want to dry it in the wrong shape or anything. I just want to do that fanning thing to get me across that tree, because I don't have all the areas in on the tree. However, I really shouldn't be that precious about it. I'm loving the way this watercolor sits on this paper. Look at that, the way I like that kind of, the way it's settled into that weird kind of strict edge. See, I genuinely am trying to stay loose. I didn't want that to go green, by the way. It just had that color on the brush. I'm going to go over it with two things: a blue and get a brown, and start coming down here with the brown, because I want to work on the whole picture at the same time. And I'm still not putting things in fully as dark as they could be. And do bear in mind that I'm not doing a watercolor demo here. I'm not telling you how to do watercolor. I don't know how to do watercolor compared to some people. There's a beautiful blue here, and this is look at that blue. That is wait, let's see which blue that is, because I'm not used to the positions of the colors yet, rather. That is, I think I have them in the right position there, so it has to be a cobalt, which isn't as zoomy as I don't want cobalt. I actually want a cerulean for the top of that tray. This is a very dark tray, but I'm trying to bear in mind this thing I said I'd do, which was to use purples. So there's a bluey cast in this as well, you see, that's the purple. But I'm getting the purple lake out. Don't worry, I am doing that. And I only put a little bit of purple. Honest. Honest. I know I'm being too scared of it. I'm scared of going too dark, you see. There's another thing I want to do, and that is mix. And I do like this, I have to say. You see, I'm mixing in the palette, but you really can't see the things. It is actually beading a little bit on that palette. I'll show you on the other palette actually to see. I haven't tested this palette yet to see if it beads. It actually does bead a bit. I wonder, is that really ceramic? Because ceramic shouldn't do that. It might be the whatever finish they put on it. It wasn't billed as being something you sell to artists. It was, supposed to be for craft working or putting beads in or something. But when I'm using the Kuretake, I tend to have to uh, mix up little pools of color because it's just the way those watercolors just work differently. So you see the way I'm kind of layering colors. Don't know if that's. I don't know that that's the right color there. Honestly, it should be warmer. But it's getting me in here to where I want to be. And I'm going to go with a much darker green there. But I'm also going to mix it with, I have raw umber in this set, which I didn't have before. And this is it is my getting to know you for the set. So this raw umber color here is lovely. Oh, it's a deader color than yellow ochre, but not as sienna-ish as burnt umber is. And I love it. I really love it. Forget what I was going to do with it. Oh yeah, I was going to make it dark green. Oh, my tummy is making noises. Sorry. And I did eat a few pistachios before I came on, especially so my tummy wouldn't rumble because I don't usually have my lunch until after these things. That's not quite what I want. I try to make it more bluey down there. That's more it. So I'm finally going into the dark colours. And this brush, the stabby mark, is going to be pretty handy when I get to, say, this bit here. And I'm going to put it in now because when I was out drawing this, I didn't have a yellow pencil with me, a yellow watercolor pencil. And I wished I had because the gorse were out. The gorse come out a couple of times a year, but there was some lovely yellow gorse here and there just dotted around. Now, I want to go back to, I didn't mix up enough of it, but I want to go back to that um, sap, and I'm putting a little bit of that raw umber in it as well, and get an overall kind of a sap green on here. I would love to do another an oil painting of this as well, actually. I might do that. Because in a way, watch me be daring now. In a way, I think if I do put a little bit of pressure on myself, um, to do a lot of painting, that it'll stop me doing what I'm even doing today, going too tight, you know, just spending too long floating around with things. It's nice that I'm having fun floating around with things. I think that's good. But there are a lot of things I want to paint, and I don't want to spend all my efforts taken ages painting one thing when I could be painting a lot of things and hopefully getting technically better from doing a variety of things. That's what this plan is about and why I'm thinking, okay, that might work well for me. But I don't want to be somebody just rushing things either, So it's all within reason, isn't it? So I got the purple out. You wouldn't guess because it looks like a brown, but I did. But that's the purple lake. You see, it can be a very subtle color. And I have to admit, I don't really, some people love really bright contrasts in paintings and very bright colors. And I just don't seem to go that way. And I don't think it's timidity. I think it's just my sensibility. But sometimes I do get a little bit too dull in my colors. And they could really do with being stepped up a little bit. And well, watercolor, how are you gonna go back from the brink? You see, if you get too dull, you can't make something more vibrant. In oil paints, you can, and that's why, like the first day I was working on that painting, for the next video I'm doing, I thought, yeah, I really like it, and then I looked at it later that night and I thought, no, not really. I want to change this and this and this, and you can, you see. This is what I love about oil paints. You keep messing, and the thing can gradually get better, better, better if you do the right kind of messing. I've lost some of my bricks on this side. I'm enjoying working with the Payne's Grey. Um, but actually, so there are a lot of blues in that thing as well. But I want to wait for that to dry before I go near them. I'm going to get some green out and sap green again because I want to tackle some grass. And I have the masking fluid on here, so it should do an okay job. And I'm going to put in some shadow as well. There used to be a program, an English program I used to watch called Watercolour Challenge. I don't know if anybody's ever seen it. And it was really nice because what people did was they went out for a day or 2 days, I think it often was, to a nice location like this one that I'm painting. And a group of them went out and they all did watercolors and worked away for 2 days. And so, they wouldn't have all have worked. Some of them, most of them actually would have worked at a bigger watercolor than this, but 2 days for a watercolor would be, quite reasonable. And they were, you know, still pushed for time. You're always pushed for time with these things. Now, I could start putting in darks in here, but I think I'll just get more stuff in the background. And some of the thing, I'm looking, scanning the whole painting again for this. Some of the thing I want to do is get some of the purples going that I promised I'd have. Because there's definitely a lovely sort of grey purple thing going on. And I'm going to generalize about a lot of those areas and then come back and get some of the more greenish bits going. So they're still not like wild purples. They're just sort of, they're there and they're purpley, but where the color is going to start getting really lifted, I think, is going to be in the color of the mountains. So there's some really wild colors going on here. And there is a wild color in this set for a blue that I'm going to show you. Look at that. I think it's called intense blue, but it's phthalo blue, which would be, I suppose, a kind of a cyan in some sets. So that's a really wild blue, but it's not dissimilar to some of the things going on in the mountains. So I have to decide whether I could deaden it down a bit with that, or with the, a Payne's grey in it. Let's see how it looks with Payne's grey in it. Because they're not far off that colour. I don't like it with that in it. They're a vibrant kind of purpley. So how is it with Purple Lake? Because we're keeping the vibrancy. Ooh, look at that. So that's nice, but more blue. And just water that down a bit. I feel that we might have it. Yeah, don't know. I don't know if that's it or not. The cobalt might be a bit too dead, and yet, where's my ultramarine? That might be the solution. Because ultramarine is zoomier than cobalt. That's it there, I think. Okay, that's what I'm going to go for anyway. Doesn't look nearly as zoomy as I thought it might. I might just drop in a little bit of that zoomy blue. So I've got the blue and the purple going on, but in some bits they're not really mixed, which is kind of a bit of a cheat. I'm doing a bit of a cheat thing here. And I may be being a little bit too careful. So the clouds are sort of playing across those mountains. So got some really wonderful colors going on. I'm gonna get with the purple, baby. I told you I would. And I'm leaving some areas because some areas on this are a kind of the color of the fields mixed in with it. It's kind of an ochre or a pinky ochre. So I want to get that in now. So what kind of pink was I using? I forget. Was it light red? No. Oh, it was milk. Yeah, that's not bad. A bit dark, so I'm wiping back. Amazing, just a tiny touch of something in watercolor is enough. And I'm doing wet and wet just because I don't mind blending them like this. And I don't mind if they go that little bit patchy, which they're doing. That's nice, you see, on this paper. I want that. And I'm going to exploit this wet on wet. I'm going to go in there with a cerulean. In a way, one of the main uh, subjects of this painting, I'm going to go back to my intense blue. One of the main subjects of this painting is the mountains, but the other main subject is the trees, but also I love the balance of the really bright color of the fields poking in between. So, there's just so much going on, but it is all balanced rather well, I think. So that might be a challenge for me. It will, in fact. So you see where this is coming down here allows me to come in and do the darker things now. So I'm gonna get increasingly daring. And unfortunately, with this kind of painting, some of the most exciting things happen late in the process, uh, which isn't ideal for viewers because viewers like to watch the beginning of a video and then often they go away before before anywhere near the end of the video. They'll watch 20 minutes and they go, "Oh, I've had enough of that. I'm going to go and watch something else now." And things are only getting interesting, but that is real life for you. Real life takes a while to get interesting, so I should play my videos in reverse, pre-record them and do the end of the painting and then the beginning. But then, of course, you have the same problem. People watch the first 1 minute of a video and say, yes, okay, I saw the finished thing. That's all I need to know. Now, I'm dipping into a color that I'm dying to use, but I don't know if it's the right color for here. I think so. It is an umber, a raw umber. Such a beautiful color. I love it. Now there, this brush is starting to behave. Now that's the thing that these brushes do that I like. Looks weird, but you can make all sorts of marks. And so it was just that that brush was new. The last time I used it, it hadn't settled into being what it is, what it does best. Now, and I will say about these paints, right? I'm so sorry, my tummy keeps making mad noises. I'm particularly hungry today for some reason. All the work, probably. All the DIY stuff. Extra work, you see, and tramping about in fields doing my plein air. I'm getting some purple lake going in the trees again. And I'm coming over here because there's a lot of purple happening in the mountains behind. And I don't have to shape that mountain right in my drawing, but that's okay. I'm enjoying this paper for this particular task. I forgot I was going to only go up to there and have that be the edge of the painting. So I'm squinting my eyes. I'm doing this. And an area like that where there are some branches coming up, that would be perfect if I wanted to get my uh, watercolor pencils involved later. But, I don't mind if they don't come out at all. I'm going to do my purple and viridian together thing. Yeah, the amount of sort of honey binder in these is, I'm enjoying it, I have to say. Now, I like that color. That's lovely. I cannot be accused of being afraid of purple now. Oh no. And I'm going to shade that into a little tiny bit of blue for the middle of the tone in that because it's a clump of trees that's going around. And in fact, I can't really see what it's doing. I'm looking forward to it being dry enough to get at the. That's gone off the screen there. Can't actually see. I'm looking forward to it being dry enough though to get at the little gorse. I think I might treat myself to putting those in next. Oh, folks, there's so much purple going on. Okay, so I'm getting my intense blue, which might be a bit too intense. I see, I don't want to go overboard. Might never come back from this experience. Oh, look at that. And look at this is what's so cool about these brushes. That. Just cool things you can do with them, you see. So, I have to do a little bit of modeling on the trees, but I don't want to overdo it. And then there are going to be some bits that have like little tiny, tiny bits of sap green in them. Now, I want to get this pinned down. So my cerulean is coming out again, and we're going up into the sky from here because this cloud, um, the blue of it, just the mountain disappears into it. I love it, love it, love it, love it. You know what? This really beats putting up shelves. Let's go crazy with cerulean. And I don't know if the whole thing is going to be cerulean. I think not. But parts of the sky are going to be. We'll leave a few puffy clouds. It was definitely a puffy cloud kind of a day. It was lovely. And one of the things I really like about doing these is reliving the experience in my mind. Because if it was a really beautiful day, it's just so enjoyable reliving it. I seem to have settled to using this brush. These are great for a point, getting a point, and bigger areas. That's what's so amazing about Chinese brushes. I need to do another blue here. So it might be my Amaze Balls blue, I think. Um, what do you call it? What do you call that blue again? Intense blue. Halo. Look at that. Who wouldn't enjoy doing that? Look at it. Look at it there. It's a shameless blue is what they should call it. Wants to. And I'm just gonna go like that. Pink puffy. Beautiful. And that's what those guys do, isn't it? Very intense blue at the top. Oh, I'm sure you can hear my tummy. It's terribly rumbly. That's why. It's the pistachio nuts. Pistachio nuts make my tummy a bit rumbly because there's a lot of digestion goes on with them. Probably you don't need to know that. Sorry. And I'm gonna get my cerulean out again for this side. But seeing as how you have to put up with my tummy, I'll just make excuses. Okay, so now we can go on to the center one. There is going to be a bit of Payne's Grey going on here, but I might leave a little bit of drying time first for the sky before I do that. And in the middle, I've got loads purple, so don't accuse me of not using purple because I am using purple. Watch me, just watch me go. And let's see, I'm a bit lost. There is hill number 1, hill number 2, hill number 3 is the really purpley one. it met a big blob of water though, unfortunately. Now, it wasn't that purpley, but I might put a blue on over it. So I'm thinking of just leaving the purple lake and then putting a blue over it, but letting it dry a little bit first. Because there's a big splodge of water there that is going to mess life up slightly. This yolk here, this one is a subtle little number because it does have a purple, but it has that field color as well, which is a lovely pinky color. So I'm not clear because I don't know my materials well enough yet about whether, well, I think this is what I'll do. I was going to say whether to let that dry before I do something. I think I need another dry cloth, and I'll keep wiping the thing in the dry cloth because that helps. So I need that field color, and it's the very warm version of it, of the field color that I'm using here. Yeah, it's that warm. So I have a light red color there that's very nice with this. So that light red and the purple are just lovely together. Lovely. I love them. And I can do more shading, bluey bits. So, there are color transitions going on in there, definitely. So what did I think it was I got that color with the yellow ochre and the light red. And then it was just to get it to the right tone. There's this patchy thing going on, so some of that is gonna have stuff filled in, and the purple also comes into it. Yeah, I like that. But you see how forgiving the hills are. You just put something down, get the outline, and you put something down and track your little bits of color across it. And they don't really have to be in exactly the right spot. I mean, I'm trying to put them in the right spot, but they don't have to be. It just starts looking like it's working fairly easily. So that has a mixture of that nice warm field color and the purple going on, and some blue as well, but all happening while it's still wet. So this went into cauliflower because I had it too wet, but that's okay. We'll just give it a second to dry. We could even fix it now. Wait till I do something here. I'm going to get my intense blue and a brown. No, that's not what I want. You know what? Um, I think I'm going to use a lot of that purple up in this set first because I'm getting really, really light purple. So I think my fear of purple has been conquered. Yay! Ooh, look at this color. Not quite right. But we're going to go in and modify it with something else. And see the way there's some cauliflowering going on. I'm trying to make that a little bit of a virtue and work with it. And I think it looks really nice in some areas. Um, and there's some dark bits left here because I don't know if that's the right color. There are bits running across the mountain that are sort of dark fields, and you know what I think they are? I think they're forests running across the mountain. Look at that, the way you can drag that. Isn't that great? Going for the purple again. Nice. And I need a blue. So some of this is being done with a dry brush. Not all, obviously. And little bits of green are turning up in the maps as well, just here and there. But that blue is quite an important colour in it. I keep thinking, oh yeah, I'll be able to get that colour again, and then fail. And again, it's just not wanting to go too dark too soon. Take out a bit of that colour down the side again, because I was trying to keep that. And even though I went in really, really quickly there, some colours are so strong that they sink in straight away, so you can't lift them. Now I need to get more happening in the front, but I'm having a lovely time. And losing my fear of purple, which is what it's all about. So I'm going to have two things going on here. There is some sap green, which is going to mean I get to use my nice raw sienna in with the green to kind of make it a warmer green. But it's going to turn more blue as it reaches that side of the tree. So this is the kind of thing I'm really wanting to be aware of color-wise. Where the transitions are between that really like warm and a cool. And then look at how nice it is with the purple beside it. Ooh. And then the other thing that I wanted to really pay attention to was my contrast of tone as well. So I'll just get the right color for this, and then I'll get the right depth of color as well. Again, I've dipped into the purple. You should be very proud of me for getting over my fear of purple. And I'm going to do something here. Ooh. That was a bit uncontrolled. I feel a bit of cauliflowering is going to come as a result of that, but now I have to let that dry in order to get the sort of lines of darkness in there. But I'm not going to get it with it that wet. So I'll move on to another bit. And I think the edges of this are dry-ish. So I think I can move up to the really dark area beside it. And I am going into the Payne's grey, but I'm getting a few colours going on. I have a purple and green mixed, as well as my grey, just so it isn't a really dead colour. And in fact, I might warm it up a little bit with sienna, because now that I look at it, there's a hint of some readiness in there. And even on this side of this tree, there's a hint of red. So if I waited for that to dry and then I did a light red wash across that, that'd be lovely. So there is a case, I think, for not rushing with things, you know. And if you don't want to rush, watercolor might be just the job, you know. So some of the shapes on this side, I think I would just suggest with a wash color rather than going into specifics. And I think that's okay. We're in the right sort of ballpark here now. So I have a purple lake and a yellow ochre this time. And I'm just going to do some stuff, the mountain here, and then trees and hunters, and then try and leave that alone. See, there are some little tips of that light red in there, here and there in the trees, but it's not really taking the whole thing over. So this is why I'm going back in and dropping other colors in. Haven't actually used the black. That intense, the phthalo blue, it's quite a strong blue. But for somebody like me, it might be no harm to be a little more daring than I would normally be. So in some areas, I'm sort of saying, okay, I'll be a little tiny bit more daring. So over that purple, I'm working back in with the green, see. And it's nice, sap green, sitting on it nicely. And it gives a lovely brown with purple in it. So I like that. I do like that. And we've got some more intense green in here. All right. And I'm going to extend that green bit there. And then I just, while I have it on my brush, I'm going to do this, but there's going to be a paler green going on as well. Obviously, all this bit here is pretty distracting from the actual picture, but if I put it down like that, you probably read the colors in the picture a little better. And if you want to see it closer, sorry, hang on. You don't really want to see my pencils, do you? There it is a little closer. I think that's in shot. See how soft the paper is. But you know, that's it's nice. And I've actually resisted going in with the watercolor pencils at all yet. because I like that soft quality of it. So let's get rid of some of the white areas. And I'm looking for a particular color because the top of that tree is blue and then it shades down to being a warmer green. I get a little bit of the purple involved again, and I'm going to shade it up into brown. I think I'll use one of my other favorite brushes for this. And I managed to not drop the colors yet, which I'm very happy about. There was a short video on that as well. It's not that I'm super accident prone. It's that um it's the lack of space thing again, I reckon. I actually have little bits of brown. See, I do like doing things slowly because it gives you time to process the information of the things you're looking at. So I'm seeing more. Now, I mean, the problem with seeing more is sometimes that you lose the simplicity of some of what you're seeing sometimes and the overall design can suffer from you seeing more detail, if you know what I mean. And that's something I realize as well. That one doesn't look right in relation to that. It's like I have an area here that I don't have right somehow. Don't know. But I know that there's a big dark shape in there. So I'm going to go with that and just check the color. Is it too warm? It might be too warm. So I am going to go with the intense blue or phthalo blue, which I think it is. Some purple lake, and there's a bit of brown in here as well. And we're going to extend this bit over. And I really love this color. And look at this brush. Isn't this the most beautiful brush you ever saw? I'm passionate about this brush. I love it. Bought this a while back, and the minute I used this, I thought, oh, you know what it's like? Did you ever get a pair of shoes that the minute you put them on, you think, these are so comfy? Like that. They're like the most comfy shoe. Now I'm getting slightly into more intense colors. You see how pretty that is. But only because I had all the other colors down. I can't help it. This is the sort of painter I am. It takes me forever to get around to anything. But watch when I start getting there. I'm gonna actually get a little bit of orange in there just for the heck. And just sort of coax edges of things a bit. Trying to get a little bit of tree texture in. And some of what I'm doing today I learned from George S. Elgood. Does that sound familiar at all? Do you remember the piece we're doing a little copy of, and he's somebody who uh, featured in kind of home and gardens type magazines a lot because they used to have instead of photos, or as well as photos, you'd have all sorts of illustrations to illustrate beautiful gardens, you see. And he was really good. Okay, we're getting a little bit of the detail going. I could get stuck in that corner because that corner is so interesting to me already. But there's so much interesting stuff happening in this picture, you see. You could really get stuck in many spots. But that's not so bad. It's given other things time to dry. So this is a lovely shape, this here. So I want to get it right against the big dark area that I was finishing, that I sort of, okay, I just forgot it. And there's a wonderful color in here beside that. Now I'm going to tell a little lie here because I didn't bring this over quite far enough, but I don't want to lose any more of that space doing so. So I'm going to tell a slight lie in there, but I want to have more warm color going on, and then figure out what I was going to have in here. This is quite dark. It's still got some greeny going on. And sometimes when you get an in-betweeny color, I think that lovely umber can be really helpful. Now, blue. And the challenge for me with some of this is that the trees have both blue and a purpley tones in them as well. So getting them to work together, it's really the viridian that works best with it. But there are warmer little sections of the green as well, like this kind of thing happening. And you see how much color you have to add to get the thing to have the right vibrancy. It's quite extraordinary, like that, all the different color that had to happen in that tree. You know, there's the warm edges, then there's the blue going around the middle, then there's the lovely browny purpley going around the other edge. So it's working in some sections. But as you can see, I'm a demon for detail, aren't I? Okay, so let's work across a bit. And I do have some of the, I'm sure I've gone absolutely miles of time now. But I would like to get a little bit more of this done before I leave. I probably won't get the whole thing done. I'll probably have some lunch and then because the light is good today, so it's going to last a while. So I'll have lunch, come back, do a little bit more, and do my community tab trick on it, post it up on the community tab. Will we put in some of the grey under the clouds for the Payne's grey that we have? Because the Payne's grey I have is just so gorgeous. I need another test piece of paper running out here. Let me see where. Sorry, I'm actually hitting it as I'm trying to reach for the computer screen. Let's see now. Going to back out a little bit, if that's all right, if you don't mind, and come at this cloud here. And some of it is button up against the blue. So that was just a plain old. See, this is annoying me the way they actually come out, because what happens is they stick underneath this. If I just, throw the mixing palette down too fast. And I didn't mind with the Kuretake set because you very deliberately take them out. Um, and it's going to do that. But with this one, I'm not used to having a set, a Cotman set, that actually comes out like that, not attached anywhere, not even attached to the pans. Oddly, I need my bigger brush for this, I think. There, that's better, isn't it? Right brush for the job, you see, is very helpful. My main focus in this is trying not to overwork these guys. Because an overworked cloud is just, it's a shame. It's a shame to see an overworked cloud. So we just keep going. And there is a kind of a sulky blue in there, but I haven't really got it. I've actually got the purple out again. I achieved it with purple, and I'm not unhappy with but there is a cobalt, I think, in there, in those clouds, in that sort of they're not really rainy clouds, but there is a sense of something cobalty in there, but I'm not going into that level of detail. I'm trying to stay loose, trying to stay loose, trying to stay loose, trying to remind me to stay loose. And if anybody turned up in chat and I didn't see it, I'm terribly sorry. I don't think anybody did, but just in case, because although it's taken me ages to do this, oh, I'm going to do this tree here now. That's going to be really bringing things together. And then when this color goes in, we won't know ourselves, folks. And then a line of dark trees, and we've come a long way, baby. As they say, or used to say on the Charlie ads centuries ago. Now some of you won't know what I'm talking about. So some of this tree is that kind of color, and then some of it is sienna, light red, and can you guess what I'm going to say next? Purple. Purple. I've definitely, this is my purple coming out party, isn't it? Definitely. So hang on now, I have to reach over you again just to see this because I've got two images I'm looking at. Yeah, I've got a little thing that I want to mark out. I do have some little stone bits, but I want to have a little dark green going up there. And I'm going in over this with a lovely bluey green. And then I can generalize a bit the blue, drag it over the top. Because there's going to be some blue happening on those trees as well. And they're going to be, guess what color I'm going for, folks? Purple. Look, you can't say I didn't use it. I did. It's how I use it. Am I using it in the right place in a way that's effective? Is the question I want to be asking myself. Oh, this was the big drip, wasn't it? That I was trying to fix. And I can't remember what was happening. Oh no. Oh, we're back. Oh, do you know what? I never looked at my battery. 45. So the reason for the screen going black for a second there wasn't that. It was just, I guess, an interruption to power or something. I don't know. Bandwidth. I'm afraid to look at how long I've been on. 142. Oh my God. Well, the battery usually starts wanting to go at about 2 hours anyway. I don't know why my live streams are getting longer, folks. Apologies if you don't enjoy that. Maybe it's because I had said that this was my year of not hurrying, and I'm actually managing to not hurry, so maybe it's a good thing, for me. I don't know about you. Can't hurry everything. I don't know that color. I'm not. That color isn't doing it for me. I keep mixing up a color saying, yes, I have that color now. I'm going to be able to get that color again. No problem. And I just forget how I got it. I had that wonderful mountain blue and I totally forgot how I got it. So, a really deep purple here. And I think it's just a Payne's Grey with the purple lake will get it for me. Yeah. So I'm putting that here in a line because it's that definite a thing. And I'm looking for it elsewhere and I really don't see it. So I mean generally speaking, if you see a color somewhere, it's not in isolation, but you mightn't see it as dark elsewhere. But that dark a color, I'd be looking at the trees and all that to see, okay, well, is there like a color like that in the trees? And actually, surprise, surprise, I can find something with the equivalent kind of dark going on in it here. But I do want to. I don't know what happened with my stone wall. It's just gone a bit weird. I do want to get some green going on. It's sort of a coolish green, but it's there. There's a mixture going on. It's a bit better, I think. And that still wants to be quite dark. I don't know if I've even got it dark enough. There is a very pale area in there that I missed. I don't know how I got it covered. There was pale yellow, but you see, I don't think that would lift anymore. I think that's been sitting there too long to do that. There are color correction things you could do. You could get in there and put white acrylic on and try again. But I don't want to lose the spontaneous look, you see. I don't think that would be the way to go. Now, let me have a look at the color for the field, which is a lovely yellow in bits, but it's also got an orangey something going on, but I'm not sure. Maybe that's it. That's maybe a bit dark. And I'm going to put in the gorse. And do you know what it is about those fields? They have just water that down a bit more. They have a bit of basically a light red. That'll be better dry actually. So but I'm happy enough that I got that color. So it's that kind of color. It's an ochre, a cadmium deep, I think. And we're running out of space, folks. And I want to continue that color across, you see, because that was very interesting to me. The fact that it did go across. And there were lovely little dark areas of grasses and things as well. That were just sort of hanging around, little clumpy bits. And it's this kind of tangled kind of foliage that I find really interesting. I just really like doing it. Because you see so much, and the more you look, the more stuff you see. This is why you could spend forever doing it. I don't want to do that to you, but so I tell you what's in conjunction a lot in this. That purpley color and browns turning up together. I mean, I can't definitely say yet, oh, every time you see such and such a color, this color will be beside it. But at least I'm seeing the color. I think it's, getting there. And let's not forget, this is kind of a problem solving thing for me, where I did say I was trying to work on my uh, tones, like grayscale, think grayscale, black and white, how light or dark something is, and also work on my colors. So I think I'm stepping up to the plate in terms of doing those things. Definitely. I definitely have thought about it as I'm doing this. And still, one of my favorite colors is that purple lake with Meridian. But as you move back, you get the opportunity to do more intense blues. Because one of the things that um, the YouTuber whose video I was watching this morning was saying, which I wouldn't have thought of particularly, but it makes sense that our eyes interpret something that is blue, that is predominantly blue tones, as being further away, which kind of makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, I'm showing a lot of purple far away in this, but that makes sense because that's on the blue side of the color wheel, isn't it? So it's something to think about when you're painting mountains. So definitely, because all the blues and purples in them. Now they've still got colors of uh, they've still got colors of whatever kind of foliage is on them and everything. Obviously, oops, that's a very there color, isn't it? But I suppose because of the way light hits things, atmospherically, the blue is going to, you've got to have uh, clues for your eyes. And so your eyes are used to the thing of, when I see something with a bluey tone, and it probably is going to be something far away. You probably just generalize from experience. I don't know whether she was saying, it's hardwired in, or whether that's just an experiential thing. I'm trying not to hurry for this bit because I don't want to mess it up too much. Because I kind of like some of the things going on. I mean, it's still, it's only a kind of halfway there painting, I think. But I like it in its defense. And I don't want to mess it up. So I'm going to get a lot more purple into this, and I'm going with the phthalo blue and purple lake for this, my only purple in the set. And that really could have been a bit drier there, but it doesn't matter. It's okay. And there's some running up this. So I think they're kind of lines of foresty bits myself. But it does actually turn bluer up here, but you have to be really careful with this blue because it goes boogaloo. But there are shadows up here, and in the shadows, the blues are, you know, kind of intense. And I'm trying to get that lovely ochre with light red color. That's so nice for in here. I think if you thought about how long you take over pictures, you probably wouldn't do them. This is one that I'm realizing if I was going to really make it look, try and look really finished and, you know, look really good, I might spend an awful lot more time on it. But I don't want to because of my thing that I said I was going to do about doing a lot of stuff really fast. But look how nice it is when you layer things, though. It does layering so nicely. Look, I mean, the amount of layering I can really enjoy doing on that. And the color gets more. I have a little bit of dust I'd love to lift off there, and it doesn't want to come. Um, this is why I want to keep working away on this. I'm going to do more of that wonderful halo blue and purple lake color again for the line of forestiness. So this is weird because some of my most intense colors on this are colors at the back. And it's so cozy because I am painting a beautiful sunny morning and it's settling into being a rainy kind of an afternoon. And I lose the freshness now if I fiddle too much. But I'm having a lovely time and well deserved after the DIY stuff, I think. But I still have a lot to do on those shelves to put them up. But uh, now that I know I have a drill that works really well, I don't mind. It's going to be grand. Just lifting the vibrancy with a little line of cerulean blue. And gonna do the same for the purple up here and run some cerulean over the edge. And I think I've got a nice mountain there now. I think that's nice. Let's get a little bit of orange in. So you see how long it took me to start getting doing kind of brave stuff there. But to do that early on might have been a good idea because I might have ended up with that mucky thing that I'm so good at getting. We don't want that. They're very intense, these colors. Uh, Much more so than I was expecting from the set. And it makes me wonder whether my old field sets, I have two of them because I lost one of them and then found it again after ordering the other one. It makes me wonder whether my old field sets, whether the colors gone a little bit jadedy in them. Don't know. Decided I don't like that bit. After all, I'm generalizing a bit and losing the edge a bit in it. Now I need to come back and make some decisions in the front, and then we'll call it a day. And I'll go off and have some lunch and post this up later when I get a bit more of it done. So there are some areas in here where it's really warm, nice green, and then there are some areas where it cools down and is much darker as well. And I don't mind getting slightly more daring about doing the dark thing than I was earlier, because I can sort of see how it looks in relation to other tones, and I think it's more under control. Let's bring you back up a little bit so we can see the whole composition at this stage. See if it's starting to make sense. You've still got some white kind of holes in the painting, which have to be filled in with the field color. And I'm sort of waiting for things to dry before that happens. But I do have some nice stuff happening, I think. I'm actually, with these trees, I'm much further over than I should have been because I'm looking at the wrong section. So I can't remember what was happening in there. Oh, it's okay. I haven't got that far around. I could do a little bit of a blue wash over that though, to round it out a little bit because it wasn't that. I was looking at trees that were happening over here. I don't like to do too much that's just black, black. I like to do my purpley black because the black can be very killing. So this here could have been a lot darker. And then I'm going to do another bluish wash just to get that behaving a bit darker as well. But there's also some warmer green in there. So I think that's looking a lot nicer now. And I think the fact that I had all those layers underneath give it more kind of body. I don't know. Maybe I'm not right at all in what I'm saying. One has to jolly oneself along, at times. So let me come in here and do something a little bit messing around in corners ish, but it is going to add to the piece. I hope you don't hear too many clicking noises. There's a click beside me from the heater. If you do hear it, you now know what it is. And it tells me it's still on, which is good because I've discovered that I have I only have two plugs in the room, and one of them has two things plugged into it, right? And so I have a plug, sort of not an extension, but an extra plug thing that goes in. And it has two slots for things to go into. And the heater slips out of the plug about once a day. And I don't realize until I start getting colder. And then I go, oh, the heater, it's unplugged. So funny enough that purple lake violet-y kind of color is good for getting those sort of ashy grey colors with the layer of viridian over it. Those kinds of ashy grey green colors that are sort of washed out colors. And sometimes you see a few colors going on in them, like with the grass there. I've got an alizarin going in there. And I'll get the alizarin out again, I think. So viridian mixed in with different colors is awfully useful, I think. Trying to get a bit more drama going on in this little tree here, which is starting to take shape. And then I'm reaching for alizarin now rather than my purple. And this is something I'm more used to. So you see the way it does make a kind of a purple when you mix it with viridian. and you can mix it with blues and things as well. So that was kind of, I think, what I had been using as a purple when I was avoiding purple. But I'm not really avoiding purple anymore. Purple is, it's not even that I'm gonna rehabilitate it, because it wasn't really in my kit in the first place to rehabilitate. But I would definitely think about using it now. I do like alizarin, because look at, I'm using alizarin in these trees here, and it's nice, you know. And then I'm getting some viridian to sort of come across the tree as well. But I think the purple is definitely adding things. I don't know if that can come off yet. So you can get in there with a fine brush and do more work. It is kind of fun taking those bits off. And then the gate is going to be fun to do. I don't think it's dry enough to do. Oh, it is. We've got to. I shouldn't have taken that off before I put the band of brighter color field in. But anyway, I got carried away. I like it though. I like it. Um, I think it's nice. It's not earth-shatteringly great, but I think I haven't overworked it yet. You know, so I like that about it. That's a definite plus. But I think I'll go off and have my lunch. I've gotten far enough with it that I deserve a bit of lunch, and come back and do a little bit more, and I'll stick it up on the community tab for you later. I don't know if this is sort of a boring live stream for other people, but it was certainly fun for me. I love that Cotman set. Look at the depth of colour you get out of it. I'm actually having trouble getting it to sort of hold back on the colour a little bit, because it's so intense, and great having intense colour, but I don't want to go that intense right from the get-go, because it's too much of a commitment. But look at that. Isn't that a wonderful colour beside some of the other blues and purples and things? Look at it beside the blue there. It's just gorgeous. But that colour drags your eye across, you see. So you have to be aware of where to put your colours to bring the eye in. And where you're keeping colours nice and muted. So I'm doing a little kind of tippy aroundy things that are going to add life to it. And I think I'll just put in that yellow before I go. And then I'll go and have my lunch. Forgot I didn't have I don't have the masking fluid on anymore. Test out my color. See, isn't it fun when the yellow goes in? Enjoyable. Have to make sure it's the right yellow. There's a little tiny bit of ochre in there, and it's watered down a little. But it's lovely once you get those once you get those whites gotten rid of, to see where you are a lot better, you know. So when I come back, I'll work on some of those uh, tones. Now I have quite a lot of the color done, so I will work on getting the tones pinned down better in terms of what's working. A little bit more color work going in here on structure, but not very much. And it'll start coming together a little bit. There's still areas that there's no color in, you know. Um, I want to make sure that I have that the right um, brightness or darkness um, and the right color. But I have most of the colors down, so I'd be fairly confident that getting the colors isn't going to be too difficult. And then there's going to be little things going in, like you see the color I have there. I'm going to actually lift a little bit of that out. Some bits of that light red color are going to go in across the bright yellows of the fields as well. But it was very enjoyable, and the verdict on my new Cotman watercolors is I really love them. They're beautiful. You have all the color you need. There's no I suppose if you were painting flowers, there's some purples you have to get for flowers that Purple Lake isn't enough. Quinacridone purple or um opera rose and colors like that, you know, I know from doing the botanical stuff and trying to struggle to get those colors, you actually have to buy extra supplementary tubes of those kinds of colors. But most colors in nature, you're going to be able to match with this set. So it's a beautiful set. It's 24 colors. I think there's one with 30 something colors, but it's beautiful. It's got this thing here, and the fact that this comes out, I love it because I love being able to work with a palette right in front of me on the drawing board and the colours off to the side. It's great. It suits me perfect. So I'm very happy with that. And thank you so much for joining me. I hope it wasn't too dull for you. There was a lot of colour mixing in it though. You know, that's why I kept this area down here to mix the colours in. And I think it's always interesting watching how somebody else is thinking when they're mixing colours, or just to see what colours you get in that set and how the colours react, and then the brushes I was using and things like that. Okay, folks, thank you very much, and look out within the next week and a half maybe for that video upload on the first oil painting of the year, because I'm going to do loads of oil paintings this year. It's going to be great. Going to have a good time. Okay, bye bye, and have a wonderful weekend. Take care.